Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 1st. It is 6:20 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick. Then we could get started with our session for today. So let me get all this stuff done real quick. Once this is all set up, we can start off with our analysis for this morning. All right, that's good. A couple more things here. All right, looks good. And I think we're good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right, looks good. All right. So I'll give it a few minutes for people to make their way in. As people join the room, I'm going to go ahead and mark up the liquidity here on the 10-minute. I think for the most part, liquidity here is fine. Just got to adjust this a little bit. Hey, Alexander, morning. You don't really have too much to adjust. I was looking at the market last night, couldn't find anything good to trade, so I just ended up leaving that alone. I'm going to go here on the 1 minute though, and I'm going to redo this because I think this is probably not going to be as it's not going to be as accurate. So let me go to the 1 hour. I'm going to turn off the sessions for now. All right, so I'll start with the 1 hour first. Looks good. A couple more right here. So for the shorter time frames, like the 1 hour, I only go up to the 1 hour time frame when marking up the liquidity because we're not really expecting price to move like 10,000 pips. So the 1 hour time frame is usually good enough. Go down to the half, 30-minute. Nothing there. One right here. One right there. I think that's it for the upper ones. There's actually a lot of liquidity here that needs to be hit soon. So as you guys can see, this is barely like the lower time frames. There's a lot of liquidity on both ends. This could mean that price can push in, either direction. And I'll show you that shortly once we identify what the bias is for today. And I might have to redo the 10-minute because it looks like there's a lot more areas of liquidity that aren't marked up on there. All right, so that's good with that. Now down to the 1 minute. That's good. All right, so I think we're good to go. This is the 1 minute time frame. And here is the 10-minute time frame. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any areas of liquidity here. Looks fine. Actually, I think everything here is marked up. It's just on the shorter time, on a bigger time frame, so we can't see as many of the lines. So there we go with the 10-minute as well. It's good for the most part. Let me scroll up and see who else is here. Hey, Seuss, morning. Morning, Miles. Morning, Peter. Morning, Marlon. Morning, Søren. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Matthew. Morning, Matsy. Matsy saying good morning, Sean. I speculate a push to the upside, and then NFP might take all the liquidity, the downside liquidity with heavy volatility. I can see that too, Matsy. I think overall price is going to make its way down come Friday. But yeah, I can see price getting pushed up a bit because I do see the news tomorrow and the day after that to be negative. You know, the unemployment news and the NFP on Friday. Hey, Kit. Morning. Morning, Marco. Morning, Chris. Morning, Hani. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So as I mentioned earlier, we're waiting for majority of people to make their way in. Looks like half of you guys, or more than half of you guys, are in the room already. So good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, June 1st. It is 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So let's start off by identifying what the overall bias is for today. Looking over here at the IG sentiment, it is currently neutral, just like it was yesterday. It's 52% short. So this is going to indicate that there's 52% of retail traders selling. However, this can easily shift to the long side, within a matter of moments. So there's not going to be much of a bias here with regard to retail sentiment. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently, they're currently up about 200 points. So this is indicating a bullish bias. This is a neutral bias. And looking over at the technicals currently have a bullish bias as well because price is above the pivots in the trend meter screen. So we'll see what happens here when the market does open. But as you guys can see, there's not really much of a clear direction yet, as we have opposite biases with regard to retail sentiment, fundamental bias, and technical bias. So we'll see what happens when the market opens shortly. But from there, we're going to try to make an attempt to identify, which direction to be trading in. So. And I think there is sessions nearby as well. So price is like right at the sessions right now here on the bullish side. So you might want to be careful taking any buys there. Going over here to the 1 minute, price is literally at the sessions. It rejected right off the sessions right here. And then it bounced right back down. So you guys want to be careful with any buys right now, specifically because it's so close to liquidity, right above. So other than that, let's see, morning, David, morning, Kenny, morning, Rashida, morning, Lisa, morning, everybody. All right, going back to the 1 minute chart over here. This is the clean chart. I'm going to go ahead and mark up the liquidity here as well. Try to keep it as clean as possible. But we definitely want to identify where liquidity is possibly, sitting. I'm only going to draw this here on the 1 minute. I also got to check if there was news this morning. All right, so there goes all of the areas of liquidity. A couple things here that I'm going to mark up as well. Opening price right there. 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock over here. We got about 2 minutes to market open. Let me go over here real quick and check the news to see if there was anything this morning. So today is Tuesday, June 1st. There was no US news this morning. There's going to be news at 6:45 and at 7. We have final manufacturing PMI, and then we have ISM manufacturing PMI and JOLTS job opening. So 6:45 and 7. So I'm just going to mark that up right there. All right, guys, market's going to open in 1 minute now. Eduardo, morning. So there goes the news right there. And other than that, I think that's about it. All right, so market is going to open in 30 seconds. I'll put the requirements for the breakout right here. As you guys saw from earlier, there's no overall bias. Retail sentiment is neutral. Fundamentals are bullish, and the technicals here are bullish as well. It's not, there is a bullish bias there, but it's not very strong because we're missing retail sentiment, which is the main component when identifying, the overall bias here. So. And price is right at the session. So we'll see what happens when the market does open shortly. And market is now open. I don't see the news here for that, Patrick. Maybe I'm missing it, but or maybe that's another day. I don't see here on the calendar. Thanks for the update though, because I was likely to miss something like that. All right, so market is now open. You're not really seeing too much of a movement here. Price is actually rejecting right off the sessions right there, which is the Asia high. You can see the purple line where price is rejecting off directly. The first thing I'm going to do when this candle here closes is I'm going to mark up opening price. In order for us to have an entry here, this needs to close as a strong green candle, meaning a green candle with little to no wick on the top side. I would consider this a risky trade though, because there is sessions right here and this candle is too big. So if you guys want to take this, I'd recommend probably waiting a little bit for it to pull back a little bit and then catching it as it pushes back higher. So this is going to be the breakout right here, as you guys can see. But as I mentioned, there's a lot of risks here because it's right at the sessions and the candle is just a bit too big. So I'd probably wait for it to pull down a little bit and then maybe hop in as price swings back to the upside. As you can see, it's pulling back right now because it did close past 2 sessions right here, which typically would need some sort of retracement. Also, the candle here is just quite too big. So as it pushes up, you can make a late entry if you like, but I would probably wait a bit for it to pull back. As you can see here, it is pulling back. This is why we don't trade near sessions and we don't trade when the candle is too big. I'm going to go ahead and put up the red flags over here per usual, same red flags as always. A couple of things to note here. Candle prior is too large. You can see this green candle here is huge. And then also it's right next to the sessions. So you don't want to be trading around those points. As price does swing back up, you can put like a buy stop there and then maybe catch it as it pushes up higher. As it swings up right here, I might take it for a partial move, not a full move, because obvious reasons, a bit of a risky move here. So I did take it for a partial move right here on the open. As I mentioned, I said to wait for price to pull back, and then as it comes up, you can have a buy stop there. I caught it for about 100 pips, super quick move. I think it's too risky of a move to hold for the full entire push for these obvious reasons right here. So I already got out, guys. I pulled in, pulled out, locked in 1,590. I'll take a screenshot of that. But as I mentioned, there's certain reasons and certain times where you take trades for certain holds. Like when the trade here isn't lining up with everything, like for example, you need to, I generally confirm the overall bias. Earlier, I did mention there is an overall bias for a buy. However, it's not strong enough to be, a strong overall bias. So that's why I would have been able to take the buy here because, as I mentioned, the retail sentiment is neutral. So price can really go either way with regard to retail sentiment. However, the fundamentals here were very bullish. They're up 200 points. So with that said, we have this indicating a bullish bias. Plus the technicals here, they were bullish because price was above the pivots and the trend meters green. That's why I took it for a small push, but not for the full move because of the obvious reasons right here. Price was too large and it was right next to the sessions. Also, there was no strong overall bias. So quick move right here. I'm glad I didn't hold it because you can see price came all the way back down. This is why we don't trade around where price is near these sessions right here. So hopefully you guys, if you guys did take it, you guys listened and you guys only took it for a partial move, not for the entire hold because you have gone stopped out. So I'll take a screenshot of my profits and show you guys where my entry was. It was right at the entry point right here. But other than that, we will be looking for any other entries as we continue along. So now that price is pushing away from the sessions, this is a good thing because now we can look for entries on the open, meaning, in the middle of the chart over here instead of like where it's bouncing around the sessions. So here we go, as price hit, or you guys can see earlier, price hit liquidity, all these liquidity areas that I marked up. Price came down, hit liquidity, and then it pushed down to the next area of liquidity right here. So I could have hopped into that too if I wanted to. If I was looking for these like quick little liquidity pushes. However, we don't have an overall bias for a sell, so I wouldn't have taken it, even if that be the case. But yeah, market's kind of playing out how we anticipated. A lot of manipulation on both ends because there's no overall bias. For now, guys, I would recommend just getting quick in and outs. I wouldn't necessarily hold on to anything for too long right now because there's no overall bias. If there was an overall bias, then yeah, you can take trades in that direction. But right now, price is, basically going back and forth. Yeah, no, exactly. B said triple confluence, but insane risk. Yeah, so I wouldn't have taken that there. I mean, maybe it hit TP. No, it didn't. Again, candle here is just too big. Whenever you get a big candle like this, price tends to retrace up to the halfway mark or the full candle. So I wouldn't be surprised if this retraces, you know, maybe up to here and then comes back down. Or, you know, retrace up to the entire candle before coming back down. So this had to be a little shorter, actually. It's right there. So we'll see where this goes. But other than that, there's nothing for us to take at the moment. Let me go here to the 10-minute, make sure things can get knocked out here. So a couple areas of liquidity getting knocked out here. And you can see we're rejected off. We're rejected directly off the sessions right there. That's why you don't want to trade near the sessions. You want to be in and out quickly. Let me mark up opening price over here, which is at 630. It's actually this candle. I'll have to wait for this to close because it hasn't closed yet on the 10. But I can mark it up here on the 1. So opening price happened right over there. And then we have news coming up in about 10 minutes, guys. So I'd probably hold off before taking anything else. Unless you see something really good. But you can see right here where price is retracing to. As I mentioned, price will typically retrace to the halfway mark, or it will retrace to the full candle, which should be opening price right here. And that's kind of what I see happening. Price will probably go up to opening price right here and then bounce off it. So wouldn't be surprised if price comes up, retests that opening price, and then comes back down. And there goes the rejection, a little close to it. But other than that, I don't really see anything else at the moment. We do have news coming up shortly, so we'll see where price bounces from here, if it ends up going above it or if it bounces below. Two main things can happen here. Price will either reject off it or it'll continue pushing up after it passes this structure here. One thing that you want to be careful for is the sessions up here as well, because if price doesn't reject off this point, it can still reject off any of these sessions. So just keep an eye for where price bounces off. Maybe you can catch its way further down, but right now the fundamentals are pretty bullish. So I don't know if I would be looking for any sells. So as you guys can see, the heat map here is very green. So I don't know if I'd be looking for any sells, even though price could possibly bounce off these areas. But anyways, let me take a screenshot of my profits real quick to show you guys what I locked in off that portion of the breakout there. So here is my main account. Second account. Looks like slippage worked in my favor, which is good. Thankfully. So right here. Yeah, it looks like slippage worked in my favor for pretty much all of my trades, even my copiers, thankfully. I ended up blocking 1,500 across most of my accounts rather than the typical 1,000. B's asking, what do you use as your master account, FTMO or MFF? I use FTMO as my master account, B. It's like a lot of them lined up with my master account here. Well, my MFFs did. Surprisingly, usually like they're a bit different, but let me post them up over here real quick. And if you guys have problems to post yourself, feel free, so I can add them to the list for today. All right, so as you can see right here, look where price rejected off, right? We already anticipated it. So I told you guys this is probably going to happen. Price will come up, retest opening price, and then come back down. It retested opening price and the sessions right here, which caused a huge rejection, and then price shot all the way back down. So price literally did exactly what we anticipated. You know, if you guys see these patterns here, this is why we don't trade around these points, because even though the fundamentals were bullish, price still dumped. Like I showed you earlier that price will probably bounce off here. And I said, price will probably bounce off there, even though we have, you know, a completely green market here. Fundamentals are super bullish. They're up, you know, 200 points. The heat map here is pretty much all green, and the retail sentiment is neutral. So it like depending on what you're looking at, guys, like a lot of things will still play out, even though like the fundamentals are super bullish. I wouldn't take any trades for either direction because price is close to these points. So like if you guys take away anything from any of these sessions, it would be to identify, you know, red flags. Because if you guys can avoid red flags, you know, trading around these sessions, this will save you a lot of losses. You know, it's all about risk management, identifying the quality trades from the risky trade. So if you guys can do that, that'll make a huge difference in your trading game. You know, I only take a few trades daily, but the trades that I do take rarely ever lose because I try to use this. I try to incorporate this into every single trade I take, so I don't take anything too risky. So as you can see right here, here are my profits from that breakout earlier. Just to show you guys, you know, the full transparency here. I only took it for a quick push. You can see my entry here happened at 631. This is a green strip because I let it hit my TP, locked in a total of 1,590. Here's my FTMO copier. You can see the profits are different. It doesn't have the green strip there. I locked in 1,445. This is my MFF. You can see these symbols are different. It doesn't have a .cash after it. So with my MFF, first account locked in 1,590. My second account, same thing, 1,590. And then my third MFF copier, 1,590 as well. So good slippage, I guess, in some instance, but I mean, for the most part, and pretty solid overall. Let me just lock in some little description here. Quick partial profit off the breakout. Let's update this. And it looks like a lot of you guys here sent in some profits as well. So I'll take a look at that as well. If you guys have anything else to send in, you know, feel free, add them to the list for today. So looking over here, looks like we had Kenny over here sent in his profits. His first account here, he locked in a total of 2,385. Nice work right here. Kenny, looks like you did take partial breakout. Right here, you can see the entry happened at 630, 631, and then you caught it on its way back down. So nice work right there, Kenny. His second account, he locked in a total of 2,597. Nice work, Kenny. So it looks like you're taking a lot of these trades off of the analysis, which is solid, and you're cashing them on point. Lisa over here locked in a total of 4,908. Nice work, Lisa. And then her second account, she locked in a total of 622 off her personal. So great work right there, Lisa. Kenny over here again, 2,300. Scrolling down further, we have Kevin over here. He took some pre-market trades, locked in a total of 16,450. Crazy profits right there, Kevin. On point with all of your entries right there. Looks like you let a lot of them hit, you know, full TP. So nice work right there, Kevin. Vincent over here as well, locked in a total of 732. So nice work right here. You took the partial breakout and then you started catching on its way back down. Solid move there. It's like you caught the bounce off the opening price. Other than that, Kenny over here, nice work, Kenny. And I think that's it for now. Let me just send these to the other groups. All right, looks good. So I think that's it for right now. As you can see, price is making its way back down further. I'm going to go ahead and just adjust these high lows. That's a huge push right here. News is going to come up in about a minute, guys. So we'll see what happens when news is released. Let me go over here to 630 real quick. Mark that up. News price or opening price, actually. All right, so price is on the news channel right now. Let's see if the news was positive or negative. News was negative. Thanks, Peter, for the update. Matthew said market headed for today's lows. Then we might see it go back up. Typical manipulation, too strong fundamentals. I agree too, Matthew. That's why I'm being careful with my entries here. So thanks for the update right there as well, Peter. The news for right now at 6:45 for final manufacturing PMI was negative. You can see price is still dropping here as well. I'm going to go ahead and mark up the news price, which should be right there. So now we got other areas to look out for. This low right here got pushed down a bit lower. So yeah, we'll see where this goes from here. This is why I can't take trades only off fundamentals, right? I don't like using fundamentals only because you can see how far it's still dropped, even though the fundamentals are up like 250 points. Fundamentals are up super high, and then it's still dumped low. This is why I like using retail sentiment first before I go and incorporate the fundamentals, but we don't have that right now, so we can't really look because the sentiment here is at it's at 52%. So it's like not really much for us to look at from there. We need that to be above, and I'll put the requirements here for the overall bias. So for the overall bias here, we typically want retail sentiment to be 60 to 65% or more in a direction in order for us to have it. As you guys can see here, the highest number is 52%, so it's not very strong at all. This number is probably going to fluctuate throughout the week. I think it'll start to pick up towards the end because we are getting close to NFP and people will be looking to choose a direction. But it seems like volatility might be a bit lower because of the holiday this week. Some people like to take an extended holiday. They don't come back on Tuesday, they come back on Wednesday or Thursday. Or they just take the whole week off. So nothing here off the 1 minute. Back to the 10-minute over here. There really isn't much here to look at the moment. As you guys can see, price pretty much projected super hard off the sessions over here. Then it's now making its way back down here to retest the liquidity on the bottom side. Looks like there can be a snipe entry here. However, it might be a bit risky because it is right at the sessions, or it's trying to break past the sessions. Yeah, exactly. Pat's a 10-minute snipe if we had a bias, and I agree 100%. I would have taken it too. Unfortunately, it's not going to align with my criteria here. But if I'll mark it up for you guys, I know some of you guys still like to take these riskier trades, which is completely fine. So I will mark it up. However, I do think it's going to be a bit risky, more so because it's right at the sessions right here. This purple line here is going to be the Asia low. Typically, when price reaches that point, one of two things will happen. There's a lot of possibility of manipulation here, where price will either bounce off it, fake out, and then come back below, or it'll break below, fake out, retest, and then come back down. There's a lot of different directions price can go. It can bounce off it can break below, or it can go sideways. If it goes sideways, this is like worst case scenario, because if this happens, then you don't know where price is going. You can get stopped out before it even pushes back in your direction. So this is why this is a red flag. We don't trade around these sessions here. Red flags when to avoid trades priced near sessions. So we'll see where that goes. But right now, we'll just keep following it. As you guys can see, the liquidity on the bottom end got pretty much hit on open here. There's a lot of liquidity that was sitting right here. So if you guys remembered from before the session, we had liquidity. So market open right there. We had liquidity right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. So if you look a little closer, like where liquidity was sitting, basically you can see where price caught volatility, right? So like, for example, right here, price hit liquidity right here. It pushed down to the next level of liquidity, which is right here. But there's no double line there. So the next level of liquidity to be hit would be down here. But it's too far to get to that point. So I don't think it's going to be a smooth drop, just, straight down. It's probably going to take some time before it makes its way all the way down there. So I'll be looking out for that price area when it comes time. But currently right now, I don't really see anything like that happening unless price comes up, retest the sessions right here, and then continue dropping. This is going to be the main catalyst right here for you guys to look at, to determine which direction price will likely go, because price is going to retest it. And then once it does, price will either bounce off it and come back lower, or it'll just retrace right back up to where it would be a smooth area for its range. My guess is that it might range between this area here. If you guys remember from the past couple of days, price will tend to drop below a sessions. And then when it drops below like that, it pushes back up slightly. And then when it pushes up, it creates another high right here. And then when that happens, price just ends up ranging between the sessions right here, right? And then when it ranges, it starts to squeeze. And then as it squeezes, it prepares to break out to the upside or to the downside. So I wouldn't be surprised if this pattern here just plays out, because this is typical. It's been happening for the past couple of days. If you trade US30 every day with us in the morning, you guys will see these same patterns repeat itself. So when you guys start to see these kinds of patterns, this will give you a hint as to like where price is likely to go, so that you guys can anticipate the move. It's all repetition, guys. Like, I don't know if you guys see the same patterns that I do, but it's the same pattern that keeps repeating itself. Price goes through cycles. There's like different cycles where price will go into like heavy retracement, or it'll be moving directional. I think right here, price is now retracing. It's going to create a range, and then from there, it'll consolidate a bit before it chooses its direction. We do have news here at 7 o'clock, which is in about 8 minutes. So when the news comes up here, this can easily push price one way or the other. Rick said back to open time. Yeah, I mean, possibly if, the fundamentals here are still pretty bullish, I wouldn't be surprised if it makes its way back up. It's not as strong as it was earlier. It's only up 103 points. So I don't think I would necessarily consider this, a sound move, because sentiment here isn't that strong. It's now 50-50. If this was 65% short, then yeah, for sure, I would take that back to open. But with the current conditions and the current confirmations we have in the market, it's just not really worth the risk, in my perspective. So there we go. As price creates the range. And I wouldn't be surprised if price starts to just range between this area here. It's the same thing that happened yesterday. We had that big bullish push or bearish push, and then it just ended up going sideways for like a good hour. So we'll follow along and see where it goes. I don't think there's anything here off the 10-minute. Yeah, so this right here could technically be the snipe. However, there's no overall bias. So like for one, I mean, there's a lot of red flags here. Again, same situation. Price is near sessions. Here's the Asia low. Candle prior for entry is too large. So if you were to enter this trade, I'd probably wait for it to pull back down. And then also we don't have an overall bias, or we don't really have a bias at all, because the fundamentals aren't even that strong anymore. They're like under 100 points. You need this to be consistently above 100 points in either direction. So there isn't really much of a bias at all. So you can technically take trades in either direction. You can probably get lucky here and there. Not that I'd recommend you guys do that, but there's too many red flags. So what I'd recommend is to just wait for a better entry to come up. So we tried to discuss the snipe earlier. I would have taken it if we had an overall bias for sell, and if it was away from the sessions, but we don't have that right now. Other than that, let me just move this lower. There's actually a V1 that's closing off right here, but again, same red flags. So there is a V1 that's pending, but we don't have an overall bias. So there's no bias at all. Also, price is at session still, so still a bunch of red flags there, but this would technically be a V1. It's a double wick rejection. Vince said, yeah, you're probably on the IG website, right, Vince? On the IG website, it doesn't really, it's not loading properly. So that's why I don't really use it anymore. I use this. It's the same data, but for some reason this data is updated while the other one's just, this one doesn't update as much. So if you guys keep refreshing it, you can see the numbers here kind of change. Doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it gets glitched and it just stays at a certain price by a certain percentage. Now it's at 50. All right, so back to the 1 minute over here. Price still pushing up higher to establish that range. But other than that, not really much here to look at. There's news price, and we got news price coming up again over here. A couple things to identify here. All right. Just delete this here. It's not useful anymore. But as you guys can see, here is price from open. So market opened right here. You can see that price faked out to the upside. And this is something that you guys can look at every, pretty much every session if you guys want to see how market movement you moved from open up until the first hour. So right here, price faked out to the upside. Then it came all the way back down. As we get closer to 7, this cycle right here is going to be finished. So you can see price was pretty bearish. And then as we go into the next hour over here at 7 o'clock, price looks like it's going to possibly just range for a bit. Or you can look for a possible correction. However, I don't really see much of a correction happening. Maybe like retracement to the news price from earlier, but I don't really see too much of a strong correction happening anytime soon. Because we don't have a strong bias. So there's no bias here. Again, refreshing this isn't even, it's not even over 100 points anymore. Looking at the heat map, you can see a lot of the stocks here starting to turn red. So we don't have that bullish bias anymore. Not even a light bias. It's completely neutral now. There's no bias for retail sentiment. There's no bias for fundamentals. There's no bias for technicals here. Price is literally going back and forth. Price is technically, we'll check on the 10-minute because the 10-minute is a lot more accurate. You can see that price shifted to the downside. And again, right here, it's now retesting the sessions again. So we'll be looking for entries here, guys, but there's just nothing for us to take at the moment. Another low right there. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks it and drops lower. I'm just looking for liquidity to get built up. Basically, I'm looking for, you guys can see how I draw these blue lines on the chart. I'm looking for them to line up where there's 2 right next to each other. So like I wouldn't mind if price pushes up a little higher and then creates another area of liquidity like right here. Because if that happens, then this could provide for a liquidity push from this point as it comes back for the retest to the next area of liquidity right here, which should be a sweet like 100 pips or so, right? Yeah, easy, 100 pips right there. If you wanted to take something trading off, liquidity, which we don't have right now, but there's always going to be opportunity in the market. It's really just waiting for that opportunity to come to you. So we don't have anything right now. News is coming up in about a minute, guys. So we have about 1:40 until news comes up. Other than that, not really much to look at. Let me check CNBC to make sure there's not anything going on. I forgot, Kenny, I think you sent me something. I don't know if, so Kenny sent me this earlier this morning. He said that Yellen was speaking. I'm not sure if he's still talking. I guess this is live right now, or I don't know, maybe it's not live. I could be wrong. But yeah, they're just basically shitting on Yellen, which no surprise. A lot of people don't like Yellen because of her her stance in the market, not necessarily in the market, but in the economy in general. Lots of regulation. All right, so here goes the news candle right here. This is going to be the news from 7 o'clock. Right here on Wednesday, June 1st, 7 o'clock, we have the JOLTS job openings, which is going to be negative, I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be negative here. But I know I see prices dumping though. So I'm going to mark up the news price right there. So there we go. As price hit liquidity below here. We didn't have that second level come up, but there you go. As price broke right past the area of liquidity right here. There's another area of liquidity here. So if price does retrace back to the upside, price might make a push if it reaches this point. But there goes that area of liquidity right there. Let me refresh the news again. News was, it was actually positive. Well, I was expecting it to be negative, but it looks like it was actually positive. They were forecasting it to be a lot lower than last year or last month, but it actually was positive, which is surprising because I thought a lot of people were, well, I mean, I don't know, the data could be construed as well. There's always manipulation going on in the market, guys. So like for me, typically I'm like, okay, if the market gives me something and it's against what I was anticipating, and it's cool because we'll just use that to our advantage. So news was positive there. Price did hit the areas of liquidity. However, I don't know if price is going to push all the way back up. Now that price is so low below here, there's a lot of areas where price can reject from. It can reject from this session right here. News price. Other news price. Or all of the areas above here. So let's see what happens. Price is coming back to retest the news price right here. Let's see if it pushes above higher or if it comes back down. So one thing to look out for is if price ends up pushing past this and hitting this area of liquidity. If price does push past this and hits this area of liquidity, I could see it pushing to the next area right here for this retest. So just possible areas to look for, possible structure for price to come and retest. You can see price is having a difficulty getting past news price right here. Just came back to retest it. This is the news candle right here. Price dropped below, came back for the retest. Now it's rejecting directly off the news price right there. So it's just a matter of patience, guys. It's really just being patient, waiting for these perfect entries. We're probably not going to have any perfect entries today because we don't even have a bias at all. The fundamental bias is gone. Retail sentiment here hasn't changed at all. It's still 50-50. The fundamentals here currently up 72 points. It's not strong enough. Looking at the heat map over here, it's a pretty mixed bag. No direction at all. So I'll keep watching for any possible entries, but I just don't see anything happening so far. You can see right here, price came up, retested the news price, then it came back down. Now it's testing the sessions right here. This is like probably the worst area to be trading. You don't want to be trading between two areas of rejection because price will either break out to the upside or will break out to the downside. And you're literally taking a 50-50% chance trading around here. So I would just sit tight. If you guys are looking to enter anything, wait for, a better confirmation in the market. It's probably a good thing you pulled out, Rick, because price looks like it's coming back down. If you held that buy, looks like it would have been back into drawdown right now. All right. So now what a weird candle. This candle here is such a weird candle because it pushed down below. It didn't create a high or actually it did. It created a high here. That's why it couldn't create a low at this point. But it looks like it could have won either way. So nothing here off the one. I'm going to go back to the 10-minute over here. Not really much going on here on the 10-minute either. It's just a back and forth movement. Price is still stuck in between these sessions right here, the Asia low. It's pretty much just going back and forth. It's ranging around that area. So I think this would probably be the key thing to look at. I think the 10-minute here would probably give off, it would present the direction. So I'd be looking for it to break away from this session, either to the bottom side or the top side over here. If it does break in either direction, I think price will continue pushing that direction for the remainder of the live session. Because if price pushes below here, it's going to hit liquidity, and I think this will push down even lower. However, if price pushes above here, it might push up even higher to test these areas of rejection right there. So I think this 10-minute here would probably be a good indication as to where price is likely to go. So we'll keep pulling back to this point and see if we can find anything here. But we got to wait for this to close. It still has about 4 minutes on this candle here. So I'll come back to the 10-minute a little later. Right now, we're back here at the 1 minute. As you can see, price didn't end up pushing up higher. It rejected directly off the news price right here, this pink line, and then it came back down in a correction to the downside, which is the direction that I want to trade in anyways. I think until the recession is over, my bias, even though if there is no bias, I'm probably going to be looking towards price to come back down at some point. I don't think there's any catalyst here really providing, for a legit push back to the upside. I haven't really been following the news, but what's crazy, guys? I haven't heard anything from Ukraine, and it's like this was like the main thing for us to focus on. Now that we're going to a recession, we're more focused on like US stuff. Just so many crazy things going on at once. Like this is happening. COVID is coming back. Monkeypox or whatever is here too, or monkey claw, I don't know what it's called. And then we also have the US economy going into a recession, or the world economy in general going into a recession. There's just so many factors in the market to look at where it's like, what do you focus on, but everything kind of points towards towards a bearish bias, because with the war still going on, plus the recession coming, I don't really see much pushing price higher. This is mortgage demand falls to the lowest level since the end of 2018, even if interest rates are at ease. There's just a lot of stuff going on, guys. Anyways, back to the charts. You can see price is still dropping lower. I would probably wait for it to retrace up a little bit. This will present a shift in bias here. So like now that price is dropping lower, this number is going to decrease. And as this number decreases, you can see it's now in the red. So this is why I don't base my trades off the fundamentals, guys, because you can see that the fundamentals can easily shift from bullish. It was started at 250 points on the green side, and then it dropped all the way back down where it was technically supposed to be. So right now, this is now somewhat bearish. It's not a strong bearish bias, but it is bearish. The retail sentiment here isn't very strong. Still at the same 51%, so we can't really use this. It's going to be tough to trade here on the 1 minute because we're not really going to get much of we don't have liquidity sitting anywhere nearby. It's like right here. So if you go back to the 10-minute earlier, if you guys remember what I mentioned, I said the 10-minute would be a good indicator to identify where price is likely to go. So as you can see, price is dropping below here. I was mentioning wait for the breakout in either direction. If price hits this point right here, I probably see it dropping even further. If and when it reaches that point. However, I think it's going to be a bit of a risky move. I wouldn't just chase it for no reason. You'd have to actually see that there is a reason for it to continue dropping. So I could probably see this pushing up slightly. This candle is going to close in about 52 seconds. I can see it maybe retrace up a little bit, but what I'd be looking for is price to break and close, or not really close, but just break past this area of liquidity. So now that this candle here is about to close, you can probably expect it to retrace up quite a bit. So either the full candle or half candle, I guess. So I wouldn't recommend just chasing it right now. I would wait for it to see. So this candle here is about to close. Just want to measure to see how far the distance is. Okay. So either wait for it to retrace. Well, I wouldn't wait for it to retrace, but I could anticipate it to retrace either halfway of the candle or the full candle. And then I'll be looking for it to come back down if I want to take a speculative sell here when price reaches this area of liquidity. Because when price does reach that point, I would expect it to drop at least 100 pips, or I can lock in about 1,000 profit there or so at some point. So I'll keep watching this here. I don't know if it's going to, continue dropping, but if it does, I'll be ready for, a quick little sell there if that becomes the case. But there's not really much here indicating anything like that, that it's like going to come back down. So as you can see right here on the 1 minute, this is actually a better area to identify the liquidity push, because price did push back up. Now I'll be looking at this area right here if it comes back down, because you can probably take that for a quick like 100 pips or so. Or me personally, because 100 pips is like my sweet spot. If I'm going for something speculative and risky, I go in for 100 pips. I'm typically in and out pretty easy, no problem. And you don't really have much to worry about. So, but overall, there's just nothing here to take just yet. Rick said, made my goal of 2,500 today, now chilling. No more concerts in Ukraine. I still haven't confirmed if that was true or not. If there was concerts going on in Ukraine during the war, that's pretty crazy if it was. John said Ukraine is at stalemate temporarily, but Russia is losing too much equipment. Over 4,000 vehicles lost. It's pretty nuts. Patrick's a 10-minute snipe again, but candle is huge. Oh, off this point right here too, Patrick, I can see that. But if price comes down and hits that area below, then I can probably see it continuing to drop further. Yeah, I do see the snipe right there. Snipe entry right there. But yeah, the candle is just too big. So, and it broke past the area of, the sessions right there. So basically what Patrick is looking at right now is the snipe entry. However, it is a bit risky where it currently is or was. Let me see if I can take this quick liquidity push right here and wait for it to come back down. So it's got to wait for it to come back down. I did see price push a little bit, came back to retest the area. I'm waiting for it to come back to this area right here so I can cash in for a quick 100 pips or so. Nothing too crazy. See the price drops lower. See if I can, no, not yet. I'll wait for it to push lower. I'm gonna wait for it to get below this point. Here goes price drops. I'll pull out of it. So I chickened out, guys. I pulled out early. I got into the point right here. I was like at like 800 profit, and I just chickened out. The problem with this is that I put my stop loss too tight. I put it at 200 pips, so like I was kind of getting worried as price is bouncing around this area. I typically have it at 300 pips. I just don't want to drag it behind too far as price starts to bounce around from this point. It's also overextended, like heavily overextended, so that's why I don't want to take it or hold on to it for too long. But I chickened out. It happens. I pulled out for about 690 profit. Looks like it would have hit TP though. Yeah, decent same. LOL. I put my stop loss in profit quick, got stopped out. So right here, you can see I would have hit my full TP if I would have just trusted it. I didn't trust the trade though. So when you guys don't trust the trade like that, just pull out. Like for me, even myself, if I don't feel comfortable about it, I'm not gonna have too much pride to pull out with like 70% profit. I was supposed to make 1,000 off that. I made 690. So, give or take, I'll give away that $300 extra profit to close out with a win. But yeah, it played out exactly how I anticipated. So if you guys remember earlier, I drew this point. I said if price comes down to this point, I'm probably going to take this for a quick little liquidity push because I do expect it to push down lower. And that's what I did. I didn't take it for the full move, even though it would have hit. But you just gotta react to like how you feel, guys. If you guys feel stressed out about a position or you're not comfortable with it, just pull out with profit. You know, you can't go broke taking profits. That's really what it is. People go broke because they don't take profits. They think they can catch like the biggest move ever, which happens sometimes. You know, sometimes people get lucky. They'll be on that trading high, or they get lucky catching a couple big moves. But you know, if you have too much confidence, it could be a really bad thing, because then you'll start revenge trading. You'll start over trading, and other than that, it's just, you know, becomes riskier. So let me scroll up real quick. PC's asking, is your stop loss 300 pips for the quick? Typically it is PC. For some reason, I have it set to 200. I think it was because I was trying to take some riskier trades yesterday and the volatility was a bit higher. But typically, yeah, my stop loss is about 300 pips, like most of the other 1 minute entries that we take. Going down to the, and there you go. There goes the snipe that you're looking at, Patrick. Full TP off that. And you can see the point that it hit right here. This is what I was looking for, right? I was waiting for price to come down and hit this area of liquidity so that I can catch the move. And it looks like it might even drop even further to this next level here. So pretty solid. John said when it closes below the body of the lower candle, I noticed it usually goes down at least 20 pips or 20 points, which is 200 pips. Yeah. And I noticed that too, John. That's why I do that. I wait for it to retrace up and then I go back for the retest the second time sometimes if I miss the first entry. So nice work, guys. I mean, whoever caught that, awesome. If you guys want to send in your profits, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of my profits as well. So go over here real quick, take a screenshot of everything. Nice. Swelly's still in it. He just moved his stop loss and profit, which is solid. Man, whack slippage. There's slippage on my other account. Some other account didn't lock in nearly as much. My copier locked in 290, which is fine. I can't complain about profits. It does suck though, because I was expecting a full move or partial. MFF worked in my favor. Thankfully. But you know, just a reminder, guys, there's no official trades, there's no bias. So even though I'm blocking these wins, none of these profits are counting towards any wins for the week, like for our results. So as of now, there's no official trades for the week yet until we get like that overall bias. Just to give you guys a heads up so that you guys don't think that these are like going to count towards any trades, because these aren't actual strategies. These are just it's speculation, but using the K2 indicators to speculate. So, all right, let me post up. That's real quick. All right, so here are my profits, you know, across all my accounts. So here's my first account. You can see the green strip. I locked in a total of 690 off that, total profit of 2,213. This is my FTMO copier. I locked in 290. There was a lot of slippage, but it happens, whatever. I only locked in about a total of 1,668 off this account. My MFF over here, I locked in 700, total profit of 2,290. My second MFF, same thing, 700, 2,290. And then my last one, same thing as well, 2,290 total. So solid profit off that quick scalp. So another quick scalp using the K2 high-low. To identify. All right, solid. Looks like a lot of you guys here posted some profits as well. So I will go ahead and see what you guys posted here as well. So there's no other entries here off the 10. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Everything's pretty much done. You know, even though we did identify the snipe here, I'm not going to count this trade. Just want to be transparent with you guys because I didn't take the trade. So if I took this myself, then yeah, I would count the trade as, you know, an actual entry, but I didn't take it. So we're not going to count this. It was just for demonstrational purposes to show you guys, you know, what entry is possible at that point. Other than that, let me just adjust this right here. And now we just wait for more liquidity to be built up. Other than that, there's nothing else for us to take at the moment off the 10-minute and nothing here off the 1 either. So back to the profits over here. Let me scroll up real quick. So let's see, Lisa over here, or we already took that. So Lisa sent in her profits. Dell over here sent in his profits. He said, made it back to blue and I'm done. Dell over here locked in a total of 820. So nice work, Dell. Here are my profits right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and save that real quick. Move this a bit lower to the other groups. And here's everyone else's profits as well. So scrolling up, Harry over here, he took a loss earlier, but he bounced right back with that most recent trade, locked in a total of 2,790 for a total profit of 1,335. So nice work right there, Harry. Kenny over here took the trades as well, locked in a total of 4,066. Nice work, Kenny. And the thing with Kenny here is that he just trades with the analysis and with his own groove, right? He doesn't necessarily apply any specific strategies. He kind of just listens to like where he thinks price is likely to go off my analysis and he takes trades. So that's one thing that you guys can do as well. Not one thing that I would recommend, you know, if you don't understand the analysis, but Kenny's been here for like, you know, over a year now, or maybe 2 years now, Kenny. So Kenny's been doing pretty good just listening to analysis and not really using any specific strategy. But if I say price is going to go somewhere, Kenny will typically take a quick move in that direction. So you can see he pretty much takes trades off anything that I say because there's no consistency here with his trades, really. He just kind of listens to what I'm saying and then he'll hop into entries along the way and just let those TPs hit. So nice work right here, Kenny. You know, everyone trades differently. Some people can trade directly off my analysis. Some people need the strategies to follow directly. So right here, Kevin as well, locked in a total of 23,000 for the day. It's crazy on this account. And Kevin kind of does the same thing. You know, Kevin, he hopped into that sell 3 times, said caught it 3 times. So every time it pulled up and pulled back down, he took it. So right here, the first time he locked in 3,100, 1,700, and 1,400. So crazy work right there, Kevin. Just off that sell analysis that we looked at, because it lined up with a couple different things: the 10-minute, the 1 minute, and liquidity on both time frames. So other than that, let's see what else we have here. Nelly over here as well caught the sell, locking a total of 1,470. Nice work, Nelly. And, you know, just a reminder, these are all different people, guys. It's not just like one person profiting. It's like Kevin, Kenny, Harry, Anelli, Kevin again right here, total profit of 15,000 off this account who's trading gold. And Scotty over here as well, locking a total of 406. Obviously, you guys can see my my profits here as well. Let's see, Cameron over here, locking a total profit of 5,467. Nice work, Cameron. Rick over here. Rick said, "I don't share fake news. Ukraine is." Yes, so this is the fact check that Rick sent us. I mean, that is kind of crazy. Man, what kind of website you give me, Rick? Rick gave me some. Trying to click on that Russian website, probably trying to pull my data. It's not jokingly. Anyways, so this is what Rick was talking about earlier. He said that U2's Bono and Edge had a concert in a Ukraine subway station to support Ukraine. That's crazy. During the war too. Other than that, let's see, Rick sent in his profits as well, locking a total of 2,840 for the day. So all wins, no losses. Nice work, Rick. I would just call it a day, Rick. You made a pretty good amount of profit for the day. I think you should probably just chill out. Vincent over here as well. Yeah, Rick said you so fucking know me. Yeah, Rick, don't blow that profit. You made a good day so far. What you need to do is just rinse and repeat that every day. That's going to be your main goal. Make your goal for the day 2,000, 2,500, whatever it is. Call it a day. Come back tomorrow, do the same thing over and over again. Your profits will add up by the end of the week. So Vincent over here as well. Vincent over here locked in a total of 1,189. Nice work right here, Vincent. All wins for this. Those sells you took this morning. So solid day so far. And other than that, I think that's it. If you guys have any other profits here to send in, feel free to send them in. Otherwise, we'll continue looking for any possible entries as we carry on. Patricia over here as well. Patricia said right before open, she locked in a total of 6,121 for the day. All wins, no losses. Nice work, Patricia. Nice. All right, other than that, I think that's it for right now. Yeah, Rick said, okay, logging off later. Yeah, I think once we get off this live, Rick, you should probably just call it a day. That'd probably be your best option. Steeler fan said, made my profits for the day 1,200. Appreciate your stream. Yeah, definitely Steeler fan. Same goes to you too. If that's your goal, I would just call it a day. Come back tomorrow and rinse and repeat. There's not really much for us to take at the moment. Here we are on the 1 minute chart. There's not movement at all. Price is pretty much bouncing back and forth between this high and low, but it's literally just flatline and not really doing too much. Duggan said wild movements, 8 wins for a few cents profits. Traded US30 NASDAQ. Thanks, shot bedtime and OZ. Definitely, Duggan. We'll see you tomorrow. Chris said demo profit made. Cheers for the analysis. I'm done for the day. Nice work, Chris. Yeah, and that's key, guys. If you guys are still on demo, it's perfectly fine. Just treat it as your real account so that when you do the real thing, you guys will be ready for it. Kevin said price is moving towards liquidity on the 1 hour time frame. I can see that too. So I did mark up the 1 hour time frame here on the 10. So the liquidity that Kevin is referring to is probably going to be this area here. So price does drop down lower, I think around this area. Probably expect a pretty nice drop to the downside because it's pretty much coming down and hitting all of liquidity below here. The only thing that you want to be careful for is going to be the London low and New York low, which is right here. Right, when price reaches this point, it'll either bounce off it or it's going to break below and continue dropping further. So you just want to be careful when it comes down to that point right there. But yeah, I mean, if it drops lower, it can probably drop even further. But I probably would save that until like Friday or even Thursday tomorrow. I think price will probably get pumped up a little more before it makes that drop. Right now, there's not really much going on. It's back and forth movement. What else am I missing over here? I just saw your message, Peter. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so there is, I guess there are concerts still going on in Ukraine. There's like 31 upcoming concerts in Kyiv. I thought that was a war zone. That's crazy that they're having concerts there. I thought like the war came to Kyiv, but who knows? Like what John said earlier, they're at a stalemate, so they're probably not. There's nothing crazy going on at the moment. All right, so still nothing really going on here. Price just pushed down a little lower, but it's still ranging back and forth. Nothing here off the 10. Nothing here off the 1. Yeah, I don't really see anything for us right now. Let's see. See, Patricia sent in some more profits. Nice work, Patricia. So she said a little more liquidity grab. She took those sells earlier as price was dropping. So on her other account over here, she locked in all wins for a total of 3,134. Nice work, Patricia. That's probably a smart move. I should probably do that too. like take different trades on different types of accounts. So like one just for liquidity pushes, one for specific strategies and whatnot, because it seems to like work very well when we're not we don't have an overall bias. So if I do that, I can blow one account but not blow one other ones. I think that'd probably be the biggest benefit of trading the accounts separately. So here we go, as price starts to push its way back up. All right, so it looks like the range has been somewhat established. You can see price is coming near the London high, the London low, and New York low right here. So this could affect the direction of price. Let me go over here real quick and see if there's anything else that's been updated. The fundamentals real quick are very bearish. They're down 155 points. Looking over at the retail sentiment, it is currently 52% long. Okay, this is perfect. As you can see, there's a direction that's starting to establish, right? The long retail traders are starting to add up, which is perfectly fine. So I can see price maybe retracing up a bit. This is kind of what I'm looking for. I want more retail traders to hop on the buy side so that we can get price propped up a bit. Like I want price to push up slightly so that when it comes time for tomorrow and Friday, when NFP comes out, where I'm anticipating negative results, I would expect it to come back down and pretty much knock out all the liquidity. So I wouldn't mind if price pushes up a bit. I want it to push up because I want them to lure in some more buyers into the market. This number is starting to increase. And if this number stays red, then, you know, great. Because we can start to have a bias there. We just need this number over here to increase a bit. So it needs to be about to 60 to 65% or more. But we don't have that yet. So when we do have that, we can start taking some blind sells and not have to worry about it. 632 right now, so there's not really much going on as we get closer to 8. Let me refresh CNBC to see if there's anything going on today. Okay, so update right here is the job opening shows sharp decline, but still vastly outnumber available workers. Gotcha. Okay, so there's still a lot of jobs available. It's just a decline of openings, which is expected. Oh, I forgot today was the 1st of June. So again, guys, like another reason why today might be a bit risky is that it's the 1st of the month. Typically the 1st of the month and the end of the month will experience some manipulation in the market because that's when the new contracts open and close. So like a lot of them end at the end of the month and today's the 1st. So new contracts are opening for the options market. All right, so price is coming back a bit lower. As I mentioned, one thing that you want to look out for when price does reach this point is either a rejection and push back to the upside for correction or a continued drop lower. So just pay attention to that. Other than that, I think that's it for right now. Let me see if there's anything else for us to look at here. Heat map. Heat map's pretty mixed, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's pretty mixed. Half red, half green. Apple here is not even up 1 point, so this can turn red pretty soon. Microsoft as well, it's up 2 points. Cisco, not so much, less than a point. Intel, less than a point. Verizon, less than a point. Disney, less than a point. Yeah, I can see a lot of these green stocks turning red. The only green stock here that's actually like holding is probably going to be Salesforce. It's up 20 points, which is crazy. And Microsoft. But right now, there's not really much going on. And the market just like close. It looks like the market's like closed. It like stopped moving for a while. Back to the 10-minute over here. So the 10-minute over here actually created another area of liquidity. We kind of just needed to push up a bit, but there's an area of liquidity right here. It's going to be lined up with these sessions though. So same with the 1 minute time frame, it can bounce or it can drop further down below. We can see either one happening. So So push down a little lower. A couple more profits here. So let's see. Patrick over here posted his profits. He locked in a total of 5,729. Nice work, Patrick. So great profits right there. Sam over here said took a loss on that breakout, but made most of it back. Need another 300. Yeah, nice work, Sam. And this is accountability, right? I know a lot of people don't like to post losses. A lot of people don't even post losses when they do have losses, but this is all accountability here. So like the good thing about this is that Sam took a loss here. He tried to take the full move or maybe a bigger than normal move for the breakout, and price reversed, which is kind of what we were anticipating. The good thing is that he was able to recover from that loss and make his profits back. He's just down about $300, which is a lot nicer than being down 2,000. So great consistency right there, Sam. And I do applaud your transparency here. So, oh, gotcha. Okay, you got in late for the breakout. But yeah, no, definitely great work there, Sam, with your recovery. Wins happen, wins and losses happen, guys. You can't have a perfect streak every time, even though it does happen more often than not. So CERN over here, he said Yellen at full employment, but inflation. Yellen said US at full employment, but inflation way too high. She just said she was wrong on inflation. Is she still talking right now? Probably, she probably still is. I wasn't sure if that was live, but it probably was. Let me just check real quick. Kenny sent me the link earlier. Where's Kenny at? Yeah, Kenny did send me this link earlier. Not sure if she's still speaking though. But great work right here, CERN. CERN locked in a total of 217. So nice work right there, CERN, as well. And that's 217 euros, not dollars. Patrick over here as well. Patrick locked in. Let me just load this up real quick. So I don't know if she's talking right now, but okay. I think it's just a video, right? It says live, so no, actually this is old. But she did admit that she was wrong. So no, CERN is correct about that. All right, let's see. Price is bouncing right off the sessions right here, as we discussed earlier. So I'm just going to move that area of liquidity, and you guys can see exactly where price rejected from, right? Rejected directly off this green line right here, which is the New York low and London low. So one of two things will happen at this point. Price will either bounce off it or it'll continue dropping lower. So we'll see what happens from here. Same with the 10-minute over here. As you guys can see, price bounced directly off the sessions. So just another reminder here why we don't trade around sessions, because stuff like this will happen, right? Red flags. Don't enter trades when price is near the sessions, which is right here. So other than that, let's see. Patrick over here posted his profits. Both Patricks, actually. We got Patrick Stevens and Patrick Kerr. Patrick over here, Stevens locked in 7,137. All wins, no losses. Nice work, Patrick. And then other Patrick over here. And you guys have like identical profits too. You guys are both named Patrick, and you guys both have identical profits. Patrick Kerr over here locked in 6,382. So nice work to both of the Patricks here. So just because their name is Patrick doesn't mean they're the same person, because we always have people saying that it's always the same people profiting. It's actually more than that. So nice work, guys. Other than that, I don't really see anything else to take at this moment. 7:39 right now. We still have about 20 minutes till 8. So I'll keep looking for entries, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Just a reminder, we're going to be having our mentoring session later today. So if you guys have anything specific, we can hold it till the mentoring session later today, and we can go over it more in detail. But if you guys have anything that you want me to cover, like right now, that doesn't really take up too much time, you're free to put your questions in the chat. currently right now, we just don't have anything to look at. Price is right at the sessions right here. We do want to take sells, but we don't want to take sells when price is right at this point where we can anticipate, some sort of manipulation to happen in the market. So just no area, there's nothing for us to take, even if we did see anything here. Swelly's asking, do you think price will retrace all the way back up? How far up are you thinking, Swelly? Let me measure this real quick. So I don't think so, because market opened right here. This was market open at 6:30. I think this is too far of a push. I mean, maybe partially it'll push up, but I don't think it's going to push all the way back up to opening price. Or maybe it will. I mean, who knows? A couple of things to look out for here would be, the retail sentiment. If this here is starting to increase, there's a lot of people here buying. This number actually increased a lot. So now it's at 54%. So I could probably see it push up slightly. I don't think it's going to push up super heavily, though. I think it'll push up slightly, maybe to the sessions right here or something like that, or even like maybe half of that, to lure in some more buyers. So if price pushes up like that, what happens? Everyone thinks price is going to push back up, right? Because everyone's buying the dip. When they buy the dip, that's good for them, but it's going to be great for us because we're going to be looking for price to come back down. We need some sort of bias to establish here, right? In order for us to have, that bias established, we need price to push up slightly. Yeah, Swelly said to give that V pattern. Yeah, no, I could see that. Possibly. I don't really call it a V pattern, but I think for me specifically, I'd probably see this like maybe go on the higher time frame, like the 1 hour. And maybe something like this. Yeah, like something like, I guess you call it a V pattern, which I could see that playing out kind of similar to this right here. Price comes down, comes up. It doesn't close past the previous high, then it just drops lower. But yeah, I think those patterns would be easier to see like on these lower time frames here. So yeah, it could happen, but I wouldn't necessarily follow it as a V pattern. I would probably just look for, because you can see right here, that V pattern that you mentioned, it assembled right here, but it didn't necessarily play out fully. It kind of faked out. So the V pattern that you're referring to played out right here, but it faked out and it came back up right here. And then for the second time, it actually came down. So yeah, I mean, it's possible. Yeah, Kevin said price could push up during Asia session. It did that yesterday. It seems to do that a lot when price drops heavy during New York session. Yeah, and I agree with Kevin as well. That's exactly what I see happening. I could see it push up during Asia session, and then as it gets closer to New York for tomorrow, it'll make its way back down. So yeah, I agree with you 100%, Kevin. That's actually what I look at as well, especially if we had a huge drop like this during New York session, because this is a big drop. This is the opening candle right here. Price actually dropped about like 5,000 pips or over 5,000 pips. So this wasn't like a small drop. It's a pretty big drop for the day. Let's see, Maddie said locked in a little bit. So Maddie woke up late. He pulled a Tommy today. Is Tommy here today? It's not. Actually, he is here. Tommy is here. So Maddie pulled a Tommy. He woke up late, locked in a total of 195 off this account. And then he locked in 400 off this account. Yeah, Maddie said, I love pulling the Tommy. Feels great. Yeah, nothing like having a good sleep and waking up to profits, or waking up to catch a quick profit. Yeah, exactly, Maddie. So nice profit right there, Maddie. Other than that, I think that's it for right now. Let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. If you guys have more profits to send in, feel free to post them up, and then I'll add them to the list later. But currently right now, there's just not much going on. It's 7:45 right now, so we have about 15 minutes till 8, which is typically the time that we get off. You can see price rejected off the sessions right here, and it's now trying to determine its direction. So pushed up a little bit, might come back for the retest, and then we'll see what happens from there. Nice, Maddie. So Maddie just got his verification on his last 200K account today. So we met the 10-day minimum. Nice, Maddie. So you should be funded on that probably by the end of the week or so. Thanks, Alexander. So Alexander did mention there's a V3 right here. One thing that to keep in mind though, so I'll just go ahead and mark it up real quick to see if it fits the requirements. So it's a little too tight for the stop loss, Alexander. But if you want to take it for 250 pips, I mean, it's quite possible that you can still hit your TP right there. The only problem is that it's getting close to the sessions again right here. So one of the requirements that weren't met here, which, you know, it's like a soft requirement. Sometimes I skip the requirement too, like if I think it's a really good trade. But for me personally, I don't think this is like a great trade because it's right at the sessions, right? There's still a red flag right there. Like if you wanted to extend it a little further to reach the whole, you know, 300 pips or so, it'd be too close to these sessions right there. But if you did the 250, looks like it would have hit TP right there, Alexander. So I'm not sure if you caught it, but if you did, you know, great work identifying that. It could have been a solid V3. However, as I mentioned, a couple of the requirements here were not met. Overall bias was not met. And then also the minimum stop loss wasn't met. But, you know, if you feel comfortable about it. Oh, gosh. Okay. So Alexander said didn't take it, just practicing identifying it. Yeah. So you did identify it somewhat correctly. I mean, it would have been a V3, but it also could have been a V1. Actually, I think a V1 here would have been a better entry. So right here, the main reason I wouldn't take it was because the red flags here. So here's a couple of things to look at. For one, the overall bias wasn't there for a sell, so I probably would have skipped it. The minimum stop loss requirement wasn't met. That's another reason why I would have skipped it. And then it's right next to session. So with 3 red flags right here, basically, I just wouldn't have taken the trade. However, for the V1, the thing with the V1 is that you could have hopped in like super quickly, like you just got in and out like within, you know, a couple seconds or so. The V1 over here, saying we don't have the overall bias, but everything else is pretty much met. We have the high right here. We have a double wick rejection right there. It's double wick and it's somewhat double body. It looks like it could be both. And if you took this for a quick little 100 pips, then, you know, I don't see any problem with that right there. This would have been a quick little profit for the V1. Pretty much everything else is met. And I would feel less at risk because the TP would have hit before it would have reached these sessions right here. So I missed it too, but it is what it is. We don't have the overall bias yet. So I'm not really inclined to just hop into random sells. Not necessarily random, but no sells that haven't met all of the requirements yet. Yeah, no problem, Alexander. But thanks for the heads up. So I didn't even spot that. Let's see, nothing else here on the 1 minute. Let's see if there's anything else over here. All right, perfect. Maddie confirmed that it's now 55% long. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. As I mentioned, we want this to be above 60 to 65% or more. Once we get to that point, then great. We're going to be in business for some sells because the fundamentals here are very bearish. So this is what I was talking about yesterday. You know, you guys just have to be patient and wait for the bias to really present itself. Basically, you know, you want to wait for the market to show its hand so that when the market shows that it's going to be dropping further, you can just take sells like whenever you see sell entries and you don't have to worry about much because as long as you have a wide enough stop loss, you know, price will drop back down to your TP one way or the other. So it's playing out perfect like we anticipated yesterday. I mentioned there was no bias yesterday. There's probably not going to be a bias today, but I think by Thursday or Friday, you know, the bias is going to start to pick up a bit. So I think what's going to happen here is price will consolidate a bit. It'll stack up some more buyers because people are trying to buy the dip here. They think this is the bottom, which this is definitely not the bottom. If you go here on the 10-minute, see, this is what's happening. People are identifying this as a double bottom, which is great. They can identify that as much as they want. So if they think this is the double bottom and people start to buy from here, that's perfect, because if people start to buy, we're going to see this number here increase, and this number is going to stay red because we do expect the market to stay red for the rest of the week. So, I'm hoping some more people keep identifying this as a double bottom and they start buying so that they get suckered into a buy here. And then when they get suckered into the buy, I'm going to be ready to catch those sells as it drops lower into this area of liquidity right here. So yeah, that's kind of what I expect to happen. So I don't really see much happening from now until 8 o'clock. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I think market's going to keep messing around right here on this area to basically lure in some more buyers. And then when this number here increases higher and higher to about 60 to 65%, then I could probably see it drop to this point here. And then when it drops to this point here, we can see it drop even further to this point here, because there's so much liquidity on the bottom, right? If you go on the 60-minute or the 1 minute, 1 hour, I guess, you can see that double bottom. You don't want to do what everyone's doing, right? Everyone's thinking this is a double bottom. You want to do the opposite. And if they think it's a double bottom, I think it's going to keep dropping. So just, you got to outsmart the game, right? You got to be 2 steps ahead. That's really what it is. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Do the opposite. If I think everyone's thinking to take a buy here, then I'm going to take a sell. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to play out. All right. So other than that, I think that's it for right now. It's 7:51. So unless you guys have any questions, we're probably going to wrap this up. We have about like 9 minutes till 8. I don't think price is going to do much. So I don't think there's a reason for us to stay on live. I think what you should do is, if you made your profit for the day and you're happy with your goal, I would just close out for the rest of the day. Because I could already anticipate people getting caught in a lot of fake outs right here, specifically. Because I've gotten caught in that fake out as well. If you keep staring at the chart, you're going to start to imagine things, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen that all the time. Like if you guys are looking at the chart, like if you're just staring at it and you're kind of imagining in your head, like, okay, price is probably going to push up to this point. So you're like, okay, I can take a quick little buy, just like what Sean does. And you end up taking that buy, and what happens? Price dumps before it even hooks up that high. And then you end up losing a bunch of profit. So only take trades like that, speculative trades, if you guys know what you're doing. I don't just take random trades. I'll take a trade if there's an area of liquidity, but there's no liquidity here. So there's no speculative moves. There's also no other entries to take with regard to any of the strategies, because you would need a retracement candle here or a retracement signal. So if you guys don't need a trade, I'd probably just save your capital for tomorrow, because I could see this number over here increasing from now until then. I think price will just consolidate for a bit. And then as it consolidates, they're going to lure in some more buyers. By that point, tomorrow it'll drop further, or maybe it'll push up further. Who knows? I do think by Friday, though, price is for sure going to be coming down, because I don't expect NFP here to be good. I do expect the unemployment rate to be a bit higher. And I do expect the non-farm employment change to be negative as well. Or, I mean, you can see here, they already forecasted it. Last month, it was 428K. This month, it's lower, which is what I'm expecting as well. So other than that, I think that's about it for now. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I think I'm going to wrap this up for the day. I don't see any questions in the chat. If you guys need anything answered, just email me or message me on Telegram. Just a reminder, we're having our mentoring session later today at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So it's about to be 8 o'clock right now. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. In about 6 hours, I'll be back here live answering whatever questions you guys have. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to cover any strategies, theories, anything really, guys, if you guys need help with trade psychology, I'm here to help you guys out, help you guys get to that next level. But I think other than that, there's nothing else for us to really take here. I wouldn't chase any buys here, guys. I know some of you guys are probably thinking to chase the buy here, as you might think it's going to retrace up, but I would recommend just holding off and waiting, because I do think overall price will come back down at some point. Trying to think how far price would push up, because there's no other areas of liquidity here. So maybe push up. I think the highest point it'll push up to will probably be this Asia low. And then I think it'll make its way back down, because even if it does push up that high, It's about 2,000 pips. So it's a pretty big push. Going over here at the 10-minute, the daily here might be a buy as well, but I wouldn't take it. All right, so I think that's it, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here in about 6 hours for the mentoring session. So if you guys have any questions, just line them up for that session, and then we can cover whatever you guys need help with. So, all right, guys, till then, I'll see you guys in a few hours. So if you guys don't need to trade, just sit out the rest of the market.